Witness the power of the Shadow Demon!
Hello Shadow Warriors! The time has come to determine the strength of the characters in Shadow Fight Arena. After all, the favourite phrase of casuals is that there are no weak fighters, there are only weak players. It doesn't work at all in such an unbalanced fighting game. There are weak characters, but against their background the game is dominated by several completely repulsed characters who don't care about hitting you in the block, accumulating tons of shadow energy, have a ton of damage, and just a lot of broken mechanics. Yes, I spent a lot of time, and I hope you appreciate the video by liking and subscribing. There's a lot of interesting shadow fighting content ahead. Tier S, let's start with the strongest, the absolute Imbar Midnight. And it's not just a matter of constant poking, but also one of the fastest attacks in the game that is almost impossible to interrupt, plus her talent for mixing makes her very difficult to predict. Besides, her dashes are longer and faster than those of most heroes. And with all this, she still has parry with access to crazy damage. The strongest fighter in the game, but the bitch is the most difficult. Rice Field Master, Shan, has a good series of hits, does a ton of damage in one combination, various options for combinations, and taking into account the latest balance of the patch, it began to accumulate shadow energy even faster. Only the launch of his strikes is not the most pleasant, and I wish I had more HP, otherwise it's just a monster. The same master of boiler combinations. Combos are painful, like a Shadow Collective farmer, which combined with excellent crit talent makes him one of the best fighters. Perhaps the options are less varied. It depends quite a lot on the speed of accumulation of shadow energy, and the game also offers you to make yourself home for not always working options. Xiangzi joined this party of breakers, the best presser in the game because he has the fastest plus attacks. Not one of the attacks is punished on the block, stuns the enemy when he enters rage mode, which is almost guaranteed to result in a combo high damage, unreal chewability and rear impact. Almost the entire screen. The recent nerf seemed to be supposed to fix Xiang, but due to the fact that the jump is now practically safe, and he began to receive more energy for his blows, he only became stronger. Lord of Time. Itu, and so he was not a weak character, but with the latest patch he revealed new combinations in himself, but his combinations weren't with the lowest damage anyway. Also, stupid time manipulation, just broken mechanics, which is practically a guarantee that it will cause gigantic damage the character needs to be fixed. Unexpectedly for me, Helga opens Tier A+, Kranev showed a fairly effective game. It would seem that a character with low damage has certain chips that work very well. Maybe Helgi still has everything ahead of her, but I'm not sure about her strength. Jack Bulwark is sent to these bandits strong due to his fractures, which allow him to inflict some crazy damage even on a block. Also, survivability with a talent for a shield of 30%, HP increases greatly, and if you catch an opponent in shadow form, you can reduce him to almost 50% of his HP in a second, however useless to use without epic. Marcus returns to its former greatness. It's almost as strong now as it was on release, and again, everything is due to the balance of the patch. Now Marcus, with his attacks on half the screen, receives shadow energy in 5 or 6 hits. And if you also take a Razor, a rare weapon that increases the speed of receiving shadow energy, then you can enter shadow form up to 4 times per round. June turned out to be extremely strong. On release, she had a buggy upper attack, which caused her to fall if she got into timing and was guaranteed to hit again. Not a shadow character, Kate and Azuma don't have much power against her, and her astral techniques can be used almost 4 to 5 times in a row, a very strong character at release, but now he has become a little weaker demon from the underworld. Butcher, a very easy character to master, and also very strong with the talent for immortality in a cage. He becomes very tenacious, has a lot of damage and good survivability. However, the game plan for his game is dumb as a stick. Penalty Man, one of my favorite characters, invites you to cook porridge from an axe. Its game plan is super simple, and the question is whether your opponent will guess your poke breaking through the block. He also has good combo potential against the wall. If you successfully catch your opponent at the right moment, in one combination, you can destroy 40 to 50% of HP. Tier A, the most balanced fighters. Evil Cat Lady Yucca, one of the most disgusting characters. If you want to camp, take Yucca. One of the advantages of metal is that you can stick it in at any time, which can throw off a combo or grab. However, she was greatly weakened by the rebalance of her metal recovery. If before she had a cooldown, now she needs to make a couple of pokies. In comparison with other heroes, a strong average peasant. Kate flies here because of her poor mechanics. No combo potential, unless you call jump plus, swords, plus strong attack. A combination deals a lot of damage and has unpunished attacks, and so she no longer has anything to create a threat with players are still debating whether to consider her a strong character. You can also place the Emperor in this shooting gallery. Lately I've been appearing on the leaderboard a lot, which made me doubt about this character because I wanted to put him in tier D, and since I have not met strong Emperors, I think that they exist. Thunderstorm Online, Lynx, beat everyone in the rating, one of the most frequently encountered heroes, has very good damage due to its bombs, and Shadow Mark can do decent damage. However, it has the smallest number of hit points, which practically eliminates his chance for error. Sergeant, absolutely average character who depends on luck, yours and your opponent. If you guessed whether the Sergeant will jump, you're going to do a lot of damage. Well, guess what? You're going to the trash heap. Nyashechka Yunlin, like the Sergeant, it's tied to guessing, but unlike the Sergeant, you will have to guess here one of her 6 shadow techniques, 2 of which are optional and change depending on the character build. Good character, but doesn't stand out as anything special. How much controversy is there around Ling? Starting character with normal damage and fast attack animation. There is a backdrop. There is a cut. Stupid basic hero. He has everything and nothing at the same time. Playable, but with significant drawbacks. Tier B, my favorite character is Kibo. No one understands why, with such a range of attacks, she has such a good frame date. This is precisely the strength of the character. Perhaps more, others depend on receiving shadow energy. Without energy garbage with energy top chart Dinky Azuma, a frankly weak character who can guarantee damage. Only due to shadow energy, he has no strong powers at all. Slow attacks. Low damage, it's all about Azuma Cobra, a hero who does not have normal options for defeating an opponent. Long recovery from attacks makes her easily punishable, and on top of all this, practically useless Shadow Energy with useless Shadow techniques. Lord Fireguard, the slow startup of shadow attacks gives you a lot of time to think. The only game plan for the game is to beat the sapper by jumping and setting the ground on fire, and if your opponent is patient, he will beat you easily. Jet, it would seem that a hero who deals a lot of damage, restores HP, has an invisibility role. Multiple attacks cannot be weak. However, just because of her attack range, I and the best players, the leader of the board, consider her one of the weakest characters, but I simp for Kitana climbed high enough on it, so I didn't push it into shooting range. Tier C, stupidly worst. Hongju players are not impressed. Mainly due to its frame date, its attacks are some of the slowest in the game metal, which is very difficult to hit, and the epic is kind of useless. So to all this, there are also leaky series between attacks. If you return his attack speed to how it used to be, it will be imbued, and in the current state of affairs, everything that is sad for the hero needs to be rebalanced. King Momomki is also a character with obvious weaknesses. He relies mainly on his celestial attacks. And if you know the area where he won't reach, neither an attack in front nor an attack back will win the monkey with any spell. Also, with the recent patch, the camper's talent for healing in the air began to heal ungodly little. It seems weak to players, even since its release. The characters will still develop, and there is no need to be afraid to take on the weak charms if you just like them. As a Kibo mainer, I say. Remember that arguments are in the spirit that Honey I dragged him behind Hong. He's cool. The Kaoji is so hard behind MK. You saw how Odyssey plays on Kate. They just don't work. For every so-so character, there is a cyber cutlet lover. This will not make the fighter himself stronger. And here is some serious mistake or bonk that was found. Balance patch can increase enchantment on the tier list, so we will follow the development of the game further. Thank you for your attention. Don't get sick and play the arena beautifully.